How to create a VAV Box Family. We start with opening a new template for families. Click New, click the metric folder, go to a search for the metric generic mode. In this reference level, we have to create the parameters and reference planes of the shape of the box. So now we have to create two reference plane horizontally, another reference below the center reference. So now we have to label this, create escape twice, label it, and then click equal. This is the lock position of your family. So the dimension from here to here will create the shape of the box or the width of the box. So now we have to label this dimension. Then we call this as length parameter. This will be the length of the box. Then we have to create another two reference plane vertically. Again, the position and the dimension is irrelevant. We can control it later. So now we place another dimension to control it. Make sure it's equal. It will adjust automatically. And then create another parameter for dimension. And then label this dimension. Just click the escape tab twice. Then click the dimension, create level. We call this as width. So now we can start to draw the VAV box itself. So the body of the VAV box. So we have to create extrusion. Click on out. Click the rectangular shape is here. Then we have to lock it in place into the reference to make sure it follows the edges of the box follows the reference plane and the dimensions that we have set. So click align, click this line and then lock, align to lock, align, lock, and then align. Then click the extrusion, and later we can still change this. Just leave it as it is. Check. And then if you can look at the 3D view, you can see the shape of the VAV box that we have created. Now we have to set the height parameter and offset for this VAV box. So we go to the front elevation. You can see this is the reference level. Once you place this family into the project you're working on, this reference level will be assumed or inherit the parameters on the level that you are working on. So we have to create an offset parameter for you to place the box above the floor level. So in order to do that, we have to create another reference point. Then dimension it. We will call this as dimension as offset. Now we have to make sure that the VAV box is locked into this reference line. So click the VAV box, stretch it up, stretch the bottom part, click align, align the bottom of the VAV box to the reference plane, and then lock it. So now once you insert this into the family, any offset that you have set will assume that distance from the floor level. So now we have created the shape of the VAV box. So you can still change this, click here, adjust it. Okay. So now we have to create the duct connectors for the VAV box. Typically it will have two connectors, one in and one out. So we have to go back to the reference level, cannot see the VAV box, so we change the offset to 1200 first, so we can have a clear view of the box, or 1000. Okay, now we have to create the duct parameter for the duct connectors. So we have to create another reference plane. Then again another vertical reference plane to control the extension of the duct connectors. So here we have to label this again to make sure it's equal. So align dimension, we label this as duct width. Okay, so now this from here to here we have to control it, so we have to constrain the extension of the duct. So here that's 191, we click it here and change this to 50, and then click the dimension and then lock it. This will make sure that your extension of the duct will be maintained at 50 mm. So same here, we do the same at the bottom. Click the edge, change it to 50, click the dimension and then lock it. So now we can create the shape of the duct connectors. So in order to do that, we have to create another extrusion. Create the rectangular, can draw it outside so we can lock it later. So now we have to lock it in place, same as the other side. So we use the align tool to lock it into the reference plane. Make sure you select the reference plane. Okay. Same as at the bottom, lock the top side. Make sure to select the reference plane and then lock it in place. Then extrusion we still have to change. We will create a duct height for it. Check. Then go to the front view. As you can see, whatever you draw is drawn on the reference line. This is the starting point of your extrusion. So now we reduce the height of the VAV box. We create a constraint for this duct to be 50 mm above the bottom part of the VAV box. So we have to create another extrusion reference plane. Then we restrict this with constraint it with the dimension. Change this to click escape twice, 50. Then lock it. So now we select the extrusion, stretch it up, bottom, lock it, click align, then the bottom, then we lock it in place. So now we have to create the height of the duct. So we need to have another reference plane. Label dimension. Then we create this as a height. We label it as a height of the duct height. Then we lock the top portion of the duct connectors to the reference plane. Click align, So now it's locked. So once you change this height of the duct will also change. We have also to lock the side of the box so the duct doesn't extend or overlap into the VAV box. So basically we put in about 100 mm difference on both sides of the duct. So we have to constrain it with the dimension. Change the dimension to 100 and then lock it. Dimension, change to 100. Okay, it's already 100. So lock it in place. Okay. Okay, so I think we have to remove or omit the width of the VAV box. So we have to go back to the reference plane as it's over constraining. So this width will follow the duct width. So let's move it so it's not over constrained. Go to the front and then we'll lock this. Go to the reference plane. So we take out also the equal. Go to the front. Okay, now we have taken out the constraint. It's over constraint. So it means it's overlapping with the other constraints. So the shape will somewhat change and follow only one constraints or parameters. So now we can have a look at the VAV box in 3D. You can see we have the inlet and outlet extrusion here. Okay. So now we have to change the size of the duct of this VAV box into more realistic one. So it's not about 2 meters. Let's say the width of the duct width will be around 500 and the duct height will be around 350. Then the length of the VAV ducts will be around 1 meter. Then the offset from the floor level will be around 3,500, which is quite realistic. We need to remove this as it's over constraining the VAV box. So in order to do that, just click here, click delete parameter, then click this. Live. Okay. I think we have made some errors. So this one we haven't locked the top portion of the UX, so click align, lock, and then lock it. So basically we are missing with one constraints on the top portion of on the duct height. So we have to create another reference plane. It's a trial and error. So we make mistakes and then we have to find the solution for it. It's better for you to understand it first, how to adjust all the constraints to make and work the family into your preferred requirement. So create another reference. We constrain this to 50 mm. Lock it. Change to we unlock it first. Change to 50 and then click and lock it. So now we have to lock the height of these duct connectors to this new reference point. Lock it. So this is the duct height. this one is remove it. Change the duct height from this reference to this reference. Then change this label it to duct height. So now the VAV box is adjusting based on the duct size. So now we can go to the 3D view. We have created our first VAV box. So typically the VAV box will have one in supply duct connector and another supply out duct connector. The function of the VAV box is just to control the volume of air that it will be supplying to the room. And now we have to place in the duct connector. In order to do that, we have to go to create duct connector and select the face of this create tab. Once you see the highlighted portion, create tab, and this is the face of the duct connectors that we have to place. So here, and then we have to create another duct connector at the back. Create tab. Now we have to set the parameters for the duct connector. So we have to click this duct connector, make sure it's rectangular. You can use round if you want, but currently I will be using a rectangular shape. So we have to associate this height parameter to our width, to our duct height. Associate the width to the duct width. Okay, as you can see, the duct connector has adjusted based on our dimension. So we have to go to the back portion of the VAV. Same thing. We click this, associate it with the duct height, associate the parameter dimensions with the duct width. Now we have to link this parameter. So select this part, set it as primary, then click put connectors. Click the first connector first, link, then click the second. You can see when you select these two, you have the link, means one in and out. So this parameter is my out discharge size. So I will be setting the parameters to out, supply air, specific loss, and reset. The other side will be my in, reset, in, specific loss. So now we have created our first VAV box. Create file, save, family. Make sure this is clicked to 1 as a backup. Rename the family to VAV Box Parametric. Parametric means you can adjust the VAV box sizes and dimension. Now we have to load this into the project. We have to open up one project first in order to do that. Let's say I'm working on my project, which is this one. It's a mall, so I'll be using this project as a reference and guide. So we go back. As you can see, this is the ducts that I'm working on. We go to the family, load into project. You see, once you come here, you can rotate it. This is the VAV box. Then you place it. Then you can edit the offset to 3.5, duct size, duct length, and VAV box. So that's how you create your VAV box with the parameter to adjust it. Hope you like this video and enjoy.